What's up, fellas? We are back. It is week 17. If you guys are watching this video, I'm sure you made your fantasy football championship and you are looking for some week 17 waiver ads. I'm going to keep this one real short. Not a whole lot available on the waivers this week, but hopefully you had a good holiday season. Hopefully you guys ate some food and opened some gifts and all that good stuff. We're going to get right into this. I'm going to go through my top 5 waiver ads and then 5 additional guys that could be available in your guys' leagues right now. We're going to kick it off with my number 5 waiver ad of the week, KJ Osborn. He is available in 24% of leagues right now. Big game with a touchdown this past week. Possible multi-week injuries to Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson is why KJ Osborn is on this list. He does have a game against the Green Bay Packers next week. They're a top 12 matchup for wide receivers. And if it's just Justin Jefferson and it's just KJ Osborn out there because Addison is out and Hawkinson is out, Hawkinson specifically, his injury seemed a little bit worse. KJ Osborn could be a viable flex play in week 17 in your championship matchup. Number 4 on this list is Rashid Shaheed, who is rostered right now in 34% of leagues. He had 8 targets this past week, including a bomb touchdown, playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 17, who've tightened up on defense recently against the Jaguars and Packers the last 2 weeks, but are still a viable, streaming option to go up against, especially for a guy like Shaheed. He's a big play threat. Derek Carr is playing well. It's a divisional game, probably decides the NFC South, so definitely an interesting matchup there. Rashid Shaheed is a guy that I think you could actually throw into your lineup and hope for a big game, so I like him as my number 4 this week. Number 3 on this list is Demario Douglas. He had 8 targets this past week, 5 for 74, no touchdowns, was kind of breaking out prior to his injury a couple weeks ago. He had 8 targets, 9 targets, 9 targets, and 7 targets in the last 4 full healthy games that he has played, a full allotment of snaps, not leaving early, not coming off of a major injury. He has the Bills next week, which is about a league average matchup, but again, if you are in need of flex play production because you suffered some injuries this week, maybe you have Addison, maybe you have Jaden Reed, maybe you have whoever, I do think that Demario Douglas is the premier wide receiver, especially in PPR leagues, to go and pick up and play in your lineup this week. These top 2 guys are both running backs. Definitely the best available running backs, widely available in leagues. I'll talk about another guy that's rostered mainly in a lot of leagues. Number 2 on this list is Zamir White, who's available right now in over 75% of leagues. Josh Jacobs has missed 2 games in a row now with the quad injury he suffered. Zamir White ran 17 for 69 and a touchdown against the Los Angeles Chargers 2 weeks ago, and then 22 for 145 against the Chiefs. So the guy's been pretty efficient. He's been pretty productive in Josh Jacobs' absence, and I'm really surprised that Jacobs didn't actually end up playing on Monday because he had 11 days to recover and make it back for week 16, and he was not able to. So it's possible that Zamir White could be in store for another start. So monitor Josh Jacobs' health with this one. But if Zamir White plays, he has the Indianapolis Colts in Week 17, which is a top 3 matchup in fantasy points allowed to the running back position. So he would be a top 20 running back or top 25 running back for me in my Week 17 rankings if he is indeed the starter. So keep an eye on him. He could be a viable flex play this week. And then my number 1 waiver add on the week is Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Kansas City Chiefs, available right now in over 60% of leagues. Jerick McKinnon is on IR, so we don't have to worry about him. Isaiah Pacheco left Monday early game with a concussion, and 33% of running backs that suffer concussions miss the following week. So you got a greater than 50% chance that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be alone in this backfield for the Kansas City Chiefs matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. In Week 17, it's a pretty average defense against the run. CEH might end up being a top 15 to 20 running back in my rankings this coming week, and he is probably available on most people's waiver wires. So definitely go and pick him up. If you are looking for deeper production because none of the guys that I talked about are available, 5 more guys to consider that could be available in your league. Khalil Herbert and Romeo Doubs, both highly rostered, but Khalil Herbert led the Bears in carries 20 times for 112 yards and a touchdown. Was a little surprising, but definitely could be a good option in Week 17. Romeo Doubs, also highly rostered, like I said, but guys are dropping like flies in this wide receiver core. Monitor the health of Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed. Romeo Doubs was basically the only guy left, 75 yards and a touchdown this past week, but keep an eye on how Wicks progresses and Watson progresses and Jaden Reed progress throughout the week. But the Vikings are a semi-exploitable matchup for fantasy wide receivers. Chris Rodriguez could be in line for another big workload on the ground. He scored 2 touchdowns this past week, but Brian Robinson maybe will be back this week. So I'm expecting him to come back, which is why I don't have Chris Rodriguez very high. But if Brian Robinson is out, or maybe you just want to pick up a guy to stash in case he is going to be the starter this week, pick up Chris Rodriguez from the Washington Commanders. Greg Dortch, also monitor Marquise Brown's health there. Gets a top 3 matchup against the Eagles next week. And then with Darnell Mooney, DJ Moore got himself banged up, suffered potentially a high ankle sprain on his right ankle. So he could be a viable flex play this coming week against the Falcons as well. So those are my top 10 waiver ads, basically 5 solidified dudes and then 5 kind of other guys. Tucker Kraft, of course, if he's available on your waiver wire, is a good streaming tight end this week if you need one. But just a short video today. Hopefully you guys had a good Christmas, had a good holidays. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Leave any comments, feedback, suggestions for videos in the coming weeks. We're definitely going to be pining for ideas, whether it's, lessons that we learned from this year, things we got right, things we got wrong, looking forward to next year and, dynasty stuff. So whatever you want to see in the coming weeks, leave it down below in the comments. Check out the site, flockfantasy.com. Live today is our top 5 pass catcher rankings. So if you guys want to check out some 2024 NFL draft content, you can see it over there. Later on this week, probably around New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, we will have the top 6 to 10 pass catcher rankings. So we cover Marvin Harrison and Neighbors and all that stuff in the first video. Then we'll get into the Adonai Mitchells and the Jatavian Sanders and all those type of guys in the second video. So if that interests you, check out the site if you're interested. But with that being said, peace out, and we'll talk to you soon.